Now, we could read that as Tasmanians going, what the heck was going on in Israel that year? The sun? No. So just think in terms, if you have any scientific understanding of astrophysics, do you know what would happen if God turned the sun off, even just for a minute? Life on Earth would stop. We are utterly dependent on the sun's light. Now, question, when Joel said the sun no longer gives forth its light, or the sun has been turned to dark, did it literally, in a wooden literal sense, happen? No, it didn't. But what did happen? What that language represents is Israel. The sun, moon and stars. And when they stopped, because a moon is really a reflector, isn't it? So that when they turn away from God and go their own way, following idols and other things, they no longer give forth light. Can a star fall? I mean, if you know anything about the vacuum of space, stars don't fall. So it means something. And Jesus used the same expression in Matthew 24. He used exactly the same expression. And again, he was describing Israel's unfaithfulness to God. So notice that. That's in this verse. Who gives the sun for light by day, the fixed order of the moon and the stars for light by night, who stirs up the sea and so on. All right, next verse. If this fixed order departs from before me, declares the Lord, then shall the offspring of Israel cease from being a nation before me forever. Okay. So there's a couple of things here. I want to come back to them in a moment, but I need to explore something with you. The couple of things that I see in this is that it's clearly talking about Israel, because I said to you before, sun, moon and stars in verse 35 speaks of Israel. Verse 36 just plainly says it. Yes, I'm talking about Israel. Okay. And they shall cease to be a nation before me. Here's the other thing. God uses this expression, fixed order, in both of those verses. In both of those verses, God says he has fixed an order. Now, there's two senses of this. Because he's using sun, moon and stars to describe Israel. That's called an analogy. But that's not the only analogy that he's used. He's used the fixed order as an analogy as well. What I mean by that is there are certain laws that determine the way the universe works, and God says those are fixed. We call them laws. Scientists call them laws. It's the law of gravity, for example, is one of them. It's a fixed law. The law of the speed of light within the universe is a fixed law. Nothing can move faster than the speed of light within the universe. God has fixed that, and he did it from the moment he created. Fixed it. Some people say that speed of light's slowing down or has slowed down or whatever, but God says twice that he's fixed it. Just a small point, but I want to explore something else with you at the moment. All right, and this is it. The different Christian positions about Israel. How we answer this question about Israel is determined by the method we use to read and understand the Bible. I'm going to suggest there's three main schools of thought regarding the nation of Israel and its purpose. One of the schools of thought about the nation of Israel is called Zionism. Zionism is the idea that God has promised the land, the physical land of Israel, to the nation of Israel forever, and that they have a divine perpetual right to that land that is known today as Israel.
There is an unfortunate link between those people that don't hold to Zionistic ideas and this word anti-Semitic. To be anti-Semitic is essentially to be racist, and it's a horrible kind of racism because it's targeted at one group, and that's the Jewish people. And certainly anti-Semiticism should be condemned. But just because somebody doesn't hold to a Zionistic worldview, a Zionistic interpretation of Scripture, doesn't mean they're anti-Semitic. And this is best illustrated by the fact that there are many Orthodox Jewish rabbis who understand the Torah as saying that if Israel was to be unfaithful to God, they would forfeit their right to the land. And they recognise that the prophets and history tells us that that is indeed exactly what did happen, that Israel was unfaithful, therefore they forfeited their right to the land. And so for them, they don't hold to a Zionistic understanding of the Torah or the prophets, and so this could hardly warrant those people being accused of being anti-Semitic.
Totally the difference between Judaism, the spirituality, the religion, the servitude and subservience to God, and the antithetical concept of Zionism, which is a materialism, godless in its essence, and a goal just for nationalism, and which is something forbidden clearly and distinctly by the Torah. Judaism requires of the Jewish people to be humble, to be loyal citizens in every country in where they're residing. Zionism started 100 years ago, and from its inception, from its beginning, all the rabbinical authorities were in opposition. Only because of the Holocaust, the death of so many leaders, that the Jews unfortunately fell prey to the power of Zionism.